I know. I've been uploading so much Cycle Storm recently, and you probably want a different Pauper combo deck. I'm sorry, I love Cycle Storm. It is my favorite Pauper deck, and it just got an upgrade from Crimson Vow. I am talking about Repository Skaab. Let's go over what the card does. It's 4 mana, 3 and a blue, for a 3/3 zombie that has Exploit, which means when this creature enters the battlefield, you can sacrifice a creature, trigger an effect, and with this creature, you return an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Well, this effect isn't anything new. We've had Archaeomancer, and then recently with Innistrad Midnight Hunt, we've had Ardent Elementalist. So why is Repository Skaab interesting? Well, with the Exploit ability, you can actually sacrifice the Repository Skaab to itself. Well, that's pretty good in this deck that really wants creatures in the graveyard for Songs of the Damned, but then can return those same creatures with Reaping the Graves, which means that you can Reaping the Graves back the Skaab pretty much every use, and then get back Songs of the Damned and just keep your mana and Reaping the Graves at a higher count. And before the showcase, I was recording with some lists, and I just felt like my creature count was a little bit low. So I actually ended up cutting Mystical Teachings for Architect of Will. So in the showcase, I ended up playing an extra Architect, and I liked it. And now we get to replace that Architect with a Repository Skaab, which is sort of a nice middle ground between having an additional creature like Architect and replacing the second Mystical Teachings. And I've just been blown away by Repository Skaab. I've played this list in 4 leagues. I've gone 4-1 in literally all of them. So it's good. I've yet to get the 5-0. Maybe I will tonight, but this deck list is solid. And that's the big takeaway. I've just been so impressed by Repository Skaab. It really makes the deck go. You lose all of those games where you're forced to cast the songs early, and then you think, I only have 1 songs left in this deck. I really need it to make like 20 mana. That's gone. Just because Repository Skaab means that you're going to have more later, and you just never run out. So it's just made all of those games a lot smoother. And I've even like returned Tolarian Wind, so I don't have to spend a bunch of mana after a Reaping the Graves. Like, it just does so much. It's tough to explain all of the things it does really well, but I hope to show you in this video, and I really do mean it. This card is busted. This isn't just me saying that for clicks. Like, the card is very, 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 very good, and you'll find out. So let's go to the sideboard. That's the only change in the main deck. In the sideboard, you'll notice my last video was about not running red and staying Dimir. Well, I tested that list some more, and I really did like Snuff Out. That card was very good in all of my testing. The problem is that Duress sucks. Plain and simple, the card is not good in Pauper combo decks. And the reason why is Spellstutter Sprite. If that card was not in the format, Duress would be amazing. But Spellstutter Sprite is just like the card that beats this deck over and over, and you can't afford to be playing protection that doesn't fight back on that axis. So we did bring back Pyroblast. We're running 3 and then only 1 Dispel. I just found that even double Dispel was sometimes a liability against Spellstutter Sprite, so I'm up to 3 Pyroblast. And the Flaring Pain, or not the Flaring Pain, the Shredded Sails is back to help beat some Graveyard Hate. Graveyard Hate's been creeping up a little bit because Tron did well in a tournament. And I've actually gotten some wins with Repository Skaab. Because we play Skaab, we try to return a Reaping the Graves or a Songs or something. They then try to exile your graveyard, and then you can Reaping the Graves in response. It just forces them to take action, and that's sometimes just good enough in order to win the game. So I've liked it quite a bit. And this Shredded Sails, you know, it's not the perfect card, but I do think having 1 is worth playing when people start to respect graveyard decks again. And then the last change in the board is Gnaw to the Bone in a Forest. Well, we're already splashing red, and I've been running these Jihadist Ploys in the board, but the problem with those is that, like Weather the Storm, which is also a green card you could play, they force you to commit resources to them being good. And that's really bad because you don't want to be burning Dark Rituals and Cabal Rituals to gain a few extra life with Weather the Storm, or to cycle an additional creature or 2 to gain a couple extra life. So instead, I'm running Gnaw to the Bone, which just naturally plays into the play pattern that you want to be doing with this deck, which is just cycling cards until you're ready to win. And Gnaw to the Bone just does that very well. So we're playing Gnaw, and I don't see myself switching to Weather, if I'm being honest. Just one of the reasons I moved away from Weather is I didn't like the you have to extend into it, where Gnaw just does everything I want, And on top of that, it flashes back, which means if you discard it to Tolarian Winds or a ploy, it's not a big deal because you can always use it later. So there's just a lot of things going on for this card that I enjoy. If you like this video and you appreciate that deck tech, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Those things are free and easy to do, and they really do help support the channel. I mean that, so please check that out. And if you're already subscribed, click on that join button next to the subscribe button where you can check out membership info. In there, you'll find badges, emotes, access to the member section of our Discord, which is a huge bonus. I've been posting deck lists early in there. This deck list has been available in there for about 2 weeks at this point. So there is secret stuff in there. It's worth the $5 to become a member. I promise. Go check that out. And on top of that, we have upper tiers where you can unlock cyborg guides for your favorite combo deck and half off donation decks and even free, completely free donation decks if you're the top member. So check out all of our stuff in there. Speaking of donation decks, if you're interested in submitting your combo deck to be featured here on this very YouTube channel, you can go to theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That is the only way I'm probably going to play One Land Spy in this format. So if you want to see that deck, definitely go check it out. We also have the epicstorm.com/shop where you can pick up card singles and sweet Storm merchandise, including our mini token pack that has all of the mana and storm count you'll need to play Cycling Storm in paper. What else could you possibly want? Go check it out. It's only $13 and you get 64 double-sided tokens, which is just amazing value. That's my intro. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait to show you how great Repository Skaab is, and maybe we'll break the 4-1 cycle and get a 5-0 tonight. I'll see you in match number 1. Welcome to match number 1! We're on the draw. We have 2 lands and some cyclers. I think that this is a keep. Okay, and our opponent is on Affinity, the most popular... Ooh, not Affinity. What is this? Is this like Mogwarts? Okay, so it's just Boros, which tends to be a pretty good matchup for us. I'm going to cycle the Street Wraith, looking for an untapped land here. Alright, did not hit. So I'm going to play the Barrymore and pass. Yeah, I do like my Boros matchup. The fear with it in match number 1, or game number 1, I should say, is they have, what is it called? Prismatic Strands. There we go. I'm not sold. I can't remember names. And which is why we play Flaring Pain. But in game number 1, it does tend to be kind of difficult to beat. We can beat it. It's just you have to play out a bunch of creatures, which became a lot easier with the Repository Skaab, by the way. And here they're using Cleansing Wildfire to get a basic land and draw a card. Best rampant growth there is. Okay. Draw. Perfect. Alright, let's just cycle. 4 creatures in the graveyard now. We have all these dinos that want to head there too. Okay. Our opponent's not really putting us under too much pressure right now, which is kind of nice. 6 cards in graveyard at the moment. There's a Seeker. And land number 5. Hawk. Okay. They do have a Rally in the graveyard. And if you're unaware, Rally is just basically a big anthem. Well, +2/+0. It's not quite an anthem, but you get the idea. Okay, draw another Ash Barrens. I'm going to Dark Ritual here, which is the 7th card going to the graveyard, and then I can cast Cabal Ritual. So if I play Tolarian Winds into Reaping the Graves, it's going to return 5. I'm going to try to cycle a little bit here. See if I can just hit another spell or 2. Okay, cycle this. I like the extra Wraith. Cycle that. Alright, I'm going to leave the Stinger in hand. And let's put Tolarian Winds on the stack, and then cast Reaping the Graves. We can target Architect. And then what we're going to do is target the Street Wraiths, because I want to cycle them for free, in case we hit like a Songs. Okay, so I'm going to lose 6 life here. Cycle. Cycle. And then cycle once more. We hit the Skaab, but we don't really need it right now. Looking for Songs of the Damned, and now we're going to draw 8 cards, going to less than halfway through our deck. And we spiked a Songs. Beautiful. Alright, Dark Ritual. We have not played a land, but we have used our blue source already. So this Teachings isn't that good. And there's our blue source. So we've got a slam dunk from here. Cycle. Dark Ritual. And I'm going to remove a Swamp from the deck. Play it. Cycle this Healer. And cycle Healer. And then we can go Petal, Songs, Teachings. 17 creatures in the graveyard at the moment. Cast the Songs. I'm going to cycle the Barrymore to see if I can spike something good. I'll take a Cabalret. Also increases that storm count. Alright, let's Teachings. And I'm going to get Songs just because it's going to make roughly 500,000 mana here. And Flashback Teachings. And now let's go get Reaping the Graves. And I'm going to bring back our Scabby friend. I'm at 8, so I don't really want to bring back a bunch of Street Wraiths just because I run the risk of dying to Lightning Bolt. So that is why I'm not going after the Street Wraith. We have plenty of mana, let's just not die to something silly. And I'm not doing the cycling in between the resolving of Reaping the Graves here, just because I don't need to. I have so much mana floating that I think at this point what I should be doing is looking for Blood Celebrant to play a few creatures and then just win the game. Alright, now Skaab comes back. Let's cycle Horror. There's a Lotus Petal. We don't need to use that yet. Like, I could play out the Stinger. I just don't need to, so I'm not going to. Cycle the Horror. All right, another Songs. Okay. Just keep cycling. Another Songs. All right, so now the Skaab looks like it wants to get... it could get pretty much anything at this point. But we're probably going to just get back Reaping the Graves if we don't find one here. Going down to our final 12 cards. Cycle this Architect. Ball Ritual, so much mana. Cycle the Barrymore. Okay, cycle Vantasaur. Another Petal. Let's cycle Stinger. Ooh, Ploy. I want to cast the Ploy. Let's gain some life. We only have 1 land in tap, so I can cycle the Street Wraith pretty freely. Okay, 7 cards left in deck. Let's cast the Ploy. Discard Ash Barrens, and now we're at roughly 1,000,000 life. Blood Celebrant. It's out of red mana. Play Stinger. Why didn't that work? Oh, it did work. I'm just blind. Okay. Play another Stinger. It went so quickly that I just didn't see it. Now they're going to bolt our Stinger, and I don't care about that. Been blasted. Little do they know I'm about to dunk on them. Okay, so they can resolve their triggers. Gav Blast, play my other Stinger. Play another Stinger. And now let's make a blue mana. Play the Skaab. Yes, I would like to exploit. Let's exploit the Skaab. Get back a Songs, why not? So we didn't really need it this game, but I'll take, you know, a bunch of mana. They each casually make 19 mana, no big deal. And then we'll target the Skaab again. We'll just return all of our creatures. Bring the whole family home. They conceded. No fun. But as you saw there, like, this was only a small taste of the repository Skaab, but look how much mana we had. I've had a few games in testing where my opponent waited on a Weather the Storm until you know, I played Drannith Stinger, and then they're like, okay, I go up to 86 life or whatever life total, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Because of Skaab, I can make so much mana and keep on returning Reaping the Graves that, like, you could probably deal 150-ish life if you needed to. It's very good. But here in this matchup, I don't think we actually have that much to worry about outside of like a random relic. So we're going to board in the Shredded the Sails and call it a day. Skim on an Architect. You definitely want Tolarian Winds and the Skaab and the Teaching, so you don't really want to cut any of our powerful blue spells. Unfortunately, this is a mulligan. Womp womp. Okay, we can keep this. I think we just bottom a Baron more. Let's go. Sure, draw. Ooh, that changes things. Because now I might be able to cycle this Baron more later. Looting, okay. Ooh, I forgot to board in the Flaring Pain. What was I thinking? I just realized that. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm facing the red-white deck. You're supposed to have Flaring Pain in your deck. Maybe I'll just be able to win without it. What a real dummy move. Battle Screech, okay. I don't know why I blanked on that. I should know better. Cycle the Horror. Draw. And there's Tolarian Winds. We're going to pass. Land number 3. I wonder if their decision here is like, do I tap out? Interesting. Okay. Maybe they just really want to draw a card off the Cleansing Wildfire. Okay. Cycle a Stinger. Cycle a Healer. Draw. Alright, I'm going to play the Baron more and just pass. I mean, our hand's not bad here. It just depends on what our opponent does or does not do. Another Cleansing Wildfire, okay. The downsides of not drawing your indestructible lands, I guess. Okay. 5 mana. Or, I'm sorry, 5 cards in hand, not 5 mana. And a Squadron Hawk. So they can go get the other 3 pretty easily here. And this is a good window for us to possibly try to win the game while they don't have Prismatic Strands open. Alright, let's cycle a Vantasaur. Boy, so many blue cards in our hand. Alright, we drew the Shredded Sails. We didn't really want that. I think we just cycle the Stinger and see what our next card is. Okay, draw. So I don't really want to go for it. It's just really difficult without a songs or a teachings here. I'm not a teachings, a Reaping the Graves. So you want songs or Reaping the Graves because this is 6 mana, 7 mana, which means you can tap out for teachings into Reaping the Graves. But why would I do that? So instead, I think I'm just going to cycle this Horror looking for another land. And then we hit the songs. All right, let's pass. The bright side is that we can go for it next turn. The downside is that they might just have Prismatic Strands available. So they're tapping out of it. That's interesting. So they probably just don't have it. They did leave a land untapped last turn, so they might have something like Pyroblast. Battle Screech, sure. 5 cards in hand. Another Ritual's pretty good. Dark Ritual. Cabal Ritual. Cabal Ritual. I'm gonna cycle the Shredded Sails to see if I can hit something better. Dark Ritual is something better. Okay, let's play Teachings. Go get Reaping the Graves. And you could burn a Songs here to increase Storm count. Yeah, I think I like that. It makes like 2 mana too, so it's not the worst. Alright, so now we Reaping the Graves, and this is going to get back everything. Then the idea is that we would cycle into like a Lotus Petal to really abuse this Tolarian Winds. Okay, all the best friends coming home. Cycle Street Wraith. There's our Petal. I think I'm gonna cycle a little bit more. Okay. Other songs. I'm gonna keep cycling. There's no point to casting that right now. I have more mana to try to get more stuff in our graveyard. I'll cycle a Baron more. We're gonna go to 14 here. Cycle Healer. Love a good Dark Rit. Alright, cycle Stinger. That Reaping the Graves is gonna draw a lot of cards. Okay, Vantasaur. Another Petal. And Graves. So let's cycle this. Oh, no, do not cast. Okay. So we're gonna cycle here. And another Graves. Okay. Might as well play this out. We have 26 cards left in our deck. Honestly, I might just discard the Winds to the Ploy now. Alright, let's cast Ploy. Let's gain some life. I mean, I don't need another Swamp. We can do that, I guess. Alright, let's do that. And now I'm going to jumpstart the Ploy. Getting rid of the Chilleri Winds. I just don't need it, so I might as well increase my Storm count. Okay, 44 life's pretty healthy. From 17, play the songs. And now let's return all of our friends again. Clicking through. Boros is also just like one of our best matchups for what it's worth. A little bit bummed we didn't really draw the zombie in a meaningful way this match, but I'm sure we will throughout the league. Okay. Opponent still has 5 cards. Might as well play a Stinger. Cycle Street Wraith. Auto yield to those. Okay, just keep cycling. Alright. What we really want, the Skaab wasn't bad there. So now we've used a bunch of Lotus Petals already, so we have 1 petal left. And then the, what is it called? The Blood Celebrant. So Celebrant here will get back songs because we get to cast the Skaab, and I'd be pretty happy about that because we are down to 7 mana. And that's a little bit risky. I believe I've played my land. Yeah, I have. So we're just going to keep cycling. But we're at a pretty healthy life total, so I'm not risking death. I just would prefer not to fizzle. Okay, now we're below the amount of mana where we can repository Skaab into songs. Okay, cycle the Street Wraith. There's the Celebrant, but it doesn't do me any good anymore. So we want to find more rituals. 10 cards left in deck. Alright, let's cycle the Architect. I believe we have a songs left. 1 mana floating still. There's 1, 2, 3 songs. Yeah, we have 1 left. 8 cards in deck. Cycle the Stinger. Did not hit. Alright, let's just play the Celebrant. And unfortunately, past the turn, we just didn't hit enough mana. Discard some of these lands. So now if they have the what is it called? The Prismatic Strands, it's going to be an issue because we're just so low on resources. But on the bright side, I do get to just untap repository Skaab into songs. Alright, so they played their artifact land, still 5 cards in hand. We know one of them is a Squadron Hawk. If they do have Prismatic Strands, what they could do is flashback Faithless Looting, and then they just have 5 untapped creatures, so that way they'll always have their strands up. I don't know if that's a move they want to make. Maybe they want double strands, and hardcasting it from hand is better for that. Okay, so they've Galvanic Blast in my Stinger. That just happened. I'm sorry, it probably isn't in the video. It's probably going to get clipped. But they were disconnected for a while and then all of a sudden made a play. And they've also killed our Blood Celebrant. And they have 3 mana up, which does mean Prismatic Strands. Okay, now we take 5, going to 33. Draw. There's a Dark Ritual, a little bit late. Okay, let's play the Ash Barons. And now the Skaab. Guess I would love to exploit. Get back songs. Okay. Make 18 mana. And let's get back the Skaab. Blood Celebrant. Stinger. Stinger. And there's the strands. So we should be fine here. I'm not actually worried about that. We just have to not deck, which is the big thing. Play Celebrant. And now we play Stinger. Sorry, I need to make a red mana. Like, we're just going to beat them in response to strands now. It's going to be simple. Let's Stinger again. Make a blue mana. Play Skaab. Let's exploit. Sacrifice the Skaab. Get back songs. Let's play this again. Let's increase our storm count a little bit. Let's play a healer. Now it's Reaping the Graves, getting back the Skaab. And let's get back Stinger and a bunch of Street Wraiths. Let's get back the Stinger too. And a healer, healer, healer. Okay. I just could have brought back everyone. Okay. Easy peasy. We still have 6 cards in our deck. Maybe this deck just doesn't need Flaring Pain anymore. That's a possibility. It's certainly easier with Flaring Pain, but when you can just do this sort of thing, maybe it's just not necessary. And let's make another blue mana. And play the Skaab again and get back a songs. Sacrifice this. Okay. 10 mana. I can just play 2 horrors. And I've played a land. Okay, we can go to cleanup now. And then in our upkeep, we can attempt to do the dead thing to our opponent. Alright, so in their upkeep, let's cycle a horror and deal them 4 damage. So they're attempting to flashback Prismatic Strands. And what we're going to do in response is cycle a Drannith Healer. Look at all these triggers on the stack. It's just beautiful. And even if they have another Prismatic Strands, we can kill them with it on the stack. Okay, let's auto yield to these. Now we cycle a Street Wraith. Prismatic Strands don't have nothing on me. Wooch, wooch! 1-0 even with forgetting decided my Flaring Pain. How good is that? I love it. All right, 4 more rounds left to go. Maybe we'll use Zombie a little bit more. Well, this is awkward. I think we got paired against our round 1 opponent again. I'm going to assume that they're still on red-white. This is just a little bit weird. They must have ended their league as we were beginning ours, because I wasn't even in the queue that long, so they must have just, you know, finished their league and then rejoined. And it looks like they are once again on red-white. Okay. Play the Baronmoor and pass. Turn 2, we can double cycle. And our hand's looking pretty good so far. Ancient Den and Seeker. These are the sort of draws that are good for the opponent. Okay, we're just going to pass the turn. Looting, you got it. I'm going to auto yield to these. Okay. Looting resolves. And there's the strands. Do they not have a untapped white creature? Do they not have Land Squadron Hawk? I don't think we're going to try to jam anyway, but we could. Okay. Cycle the Dino. Cycle Stinger. Now they're Reaping the Graves. Take a draw here. Cycle Street Wraith. Celebrant. I think I'm gonna Dark Ritual and deploy. See what I can do. Discard the Celebrant. Let's cycle Horror, I think. Storm's 2. We have 5 creatures in the bin. Like, I could try to go for it here, I just don't think I'd be successful. So I can go Petal, Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, which is 6 mana. And then I did have another Petal plus a theoretical land drop. Screw it. Let's go for it. They have Prismatic Strands and they can't cast it right now. Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, and let's bring everyone home. Okay, we'll return the Street Wraith first. Stinger. Get back that Horror too. Alright, cycle Street Wraith. Cycle Dino. Darkrit's a good one. Okay. Cycle Stinger. Cycle Dino. Cycle Dino. Okay, Skaab, not amazing here, but if we hit songs, open some doors possibly. We didn't. Alright, so let's just finish resolving this, and we can pass the turn. Okay, so our opponent played a 4th land and Palace Sentinels, so that's going to make them the Monarch, and they get Prismatic Strands active this turn. Okay, and we're at 13. Draw. Cycle the Healer. Wins. Interesting. I just don't have the Stormer mana for it right now. Cycle Barrenmore. I'm gonna play the Blood Celebrant as like a chump blocker, I think. We're almost halfway through our deck and we haven't found a songs yet. Okay, so they're killing our Celebrant. Spectre, you got it. I think we're gonna be forced to try to combo off on our turn. Looting. Yep. So this is gonna be 6, and if they have another Gav Blast, that's 10. 11, actually. 1 card in hand. Another Seeker. Cycle the Ash Barrens. Let's go get a Swamp out of the deck. Okay. Deck, I really want a Songs of the Damned, please. Did not hit. Let's cycle this Architect. Take a draw. This is 7 next turn. Cycle Architect again. There we go. Alright, so let's play songs. Now let's play Skaab. Guess I would like to exploit. Now let's return that songs. Makes 11 mana. Trying to figure out if I want a Tolarian Winds or not, because it's only going to be for 5. Or I can hold it. I think I'm supposed to hold it because I can get back the Blood Celebrant and then do it that way. So let's jumpstart the ploy instead. Discard the Swamp. Discard the Architect. Songs. Reaping the Graves. We'll return Blood Celebrant and the Skaab here. Skaab, Stinger, Healer, or a Street Wraith, why not? And then like Dino. Sure. I don't think that card matters. Okay. So we're going to play the Celebrant. Let's make a red mana. Play a Stinger. Make a white mana. Play Healer. Cycle the Street Wraith. Go to 7 life. Auto yield. Auto yield. Auto yield. Do it again. Okay. 27 cards left. Let's play Skaab. This time we're gonna get back Reaping the Graves. Yes, I would like to exploit. Back Reaping. Make a blue. And let's Tolarian Winds, and then Reaping the Graves. Okay, and the rest of these don't really matter. Let this resolve, and we're going to draw like 10 or 11 cards off this. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to use Skaab because we're doing the Tolarian Winds trick, but that's fine. Okay, so we want this Lotus Petal to stay in play untapped. Stinger. Go to 3 life. Our opponent's tapped out, so we don't risk death or anything by casting this. Cycle the Horror. Probably play another healer too. Okay. Guess a Cabal Ritual, why not? Whoops, undo that, can I? Okay, it's a mana ability, it's letting me undo it. Play another Stinger. Cabal Ritual. Cycle this Vantasaur. All I'm doing is gaining life here. The damage isn't happening because of Prismatic Strands. Auto yield to this. Let's cycle that. Just get out of Gav Blast range. And let's bring back all of our friends. Okay, so these are all gonna come home now. Okay. Pretty free here to cycle these Street Wraiths because they don't cost any life. It just lets me get a little bit deeper into the deck. What I want to find is another Reaping the Graves, so that way I can Reaping on the opponent's turn. Lotus Petal's not bad. It doesn't really matter. Cycle this, why not? I'm getting a little bit low on clock though, because I'm at 15 minutes. I should just go to cleanup. Yeah, we want to keep the Street Wraiths. Do I keep the Skaab? Probably not. Should have a Reaping left in the deck. 2, 3. I have 1 Reaping left. I want to keep the Dark Ritual for Storm. Alright, in our opponent's upkeep, let's cycle Street Wraith. We have another Strands. Drawing a card with Clue, okay. Teachings. Let's Dark Ritual. Cycle the Horror. Cycle Horror. And let's Song. So if they have the Strands here, it's a little bit annoying, but I'm not dead. Okay, 15 mana and mana pool. Let's cast Teachings. Get the Reaping the Graves. Let's just return some cyclers. Street Wraith, Street Wraith, Street Wraith. Okay, cycle. My only concern here is clock. I'm down to 14 minutes already. Okay, cycle Street Wraith again. Just one more cycle after this. Okay, and this should do it. Prismatic Strands is no match for 4 Stingers. It is a match for my clock. Because that game 1 took almost half of our clock there. Alright, so this time I will bring in the Flaring Pain. And maybe not the Shredded... I don't know. We didn't play 1 post-board game last time, so it's a little bit risky. And I could just like board out 1 more Architect and just, you know, not have to worry about a Relic. Probably worth it. Okay. And we have almost everything here. It seems a little bit risky, but I'm going to keep it. A Swamp or a Barrenmoor off the top unlocks a lot. I'm going to quickly mulligan to 5. Ancient Den into Inspector. You got it. Draw. Right, I'm just going to be lazy and cycle this in my main phase. Shredded Sails, that's probably going to be discarded if I don't rip a land. Alright, Bird, you got it. I wonder if I should actually discard Ploy if I miss my land here. And they picked up Triple Hawk. Alright, Cycle Healer. Yeah, I'm going to discard the Ploy. In my opinion, this hand is worth the risk, just because if you draw the black source, it's insane. We're going to take 2 here, draw. Cycle Stinger. I'm going to sit on that for a turn and just discard the sails. It's worth missing a land drop in order to guarantee the black source. Okay, so we're going to take 2 more, go to 15. One has 8 cards in hand now. And they discarded the strands. Interesting. They could have kept it up and chose not to. Draw. Okay, I think it's party time. Cycle. Another Reaping the Graves, you got it. Teachings. A little bit tight on mana. But we can at least get a little bit further into our deck even if I don't win this turn. Songs. And we cast Reaping. Storm 4. No street rates. Just return any 4 creatures here. Doesn't really matter. Alright, let's cycle Stinger. We're just looking for rituals at this point. The 4th Reaping the Graves. You know, definitely more likely to draw that than drawing mana. Okay, cycle. So I could cast Reaping the Graves right now just for more creatures. So I would return 1, 2, 3. That's going to return automatically 4. So it'd be a Reaping for 4. I almost don't feel like that's worth it. Alright, I'm going to cycle this horror and hope to hit. Okay, return this. Cycle. And now Dark Ritual Reaping the Graves. Just return a bunch of creatures to cycle later. Okay, move to clean up. I'm going to just discard this Teachings, the Barrenmore Architect, and now we have a bunch of fuel to go through. Another Hawk, and that's going to keep Prismatic Strands up, but this time we remembered to board in our Flaring Pain, so not going to be as big of a deal. Draw. Cycle the Horror. There's Flaring Pain. Cycle Healer. Did not hit land, that's fine. Discard. Inspector. We're going to take 3 here. It puts us to 10. So if they go land rally, we're dead. But I don't have any rituals, so I don't really have a choice in this. All right, we can play that out. That gets us an extra cycle. Sure, let's cycle the Vantasaur. Okay, so we're dead to rally. Just have to hope to live. Almost halfway through our deck at this point. And they did not draw the land, they sacrificed their clue. We're going to take at least 3 here down to 7. Okay, so let's start off on casting the Cabal Writ, just to get us a little bit deeper. And what's nice is I have this Ash Baron, so if I need to, I can get a blue source. And I still have the Ploy in the graveyard. Let's go to 5, cycle this. Cycle Stinger. Wins. So I can actually play land. How many Lotus Petals do we have? 3 left in deck. I guess my problem with that line... Yeah, I don't think I like the Winds line here. Alright, let's cycle the Ash Barons. Island. Play Island for turn. Cycle Stinger. Now I can just like flashback the Ploy and buy a little bit of time. Discard the Baron more. Or I can keep going, apparently. Let's do that. Petal. Songs. Flashback teachings. Get songs. Cast songs. And Reaping the Graves. We just need to find our Blood Celebrant now. Okay. Storm count wasn't as high as I thought. I thought I was going to get to return everything. I would have selected a little bit differently there. Probably would have returned the Street Wraith. Sure, so they played Strands. We have the Flaring Pain, so that's not going to matter. Okay, let's cycle. Keep cycling. Petal. Okay. We can cycle a little bit more, but I can do the Reaping trick if we want to. Cycle. We have 16 cards left in our deck. How many creatures do we have in graveyard? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 plus 9 is 17, so I'd actually deck myself right now if I returned everything. So let's not do that. Let's just continue to cycle. Okay. Down to 9. Cycle. Cycle. Well, Ritual's a good one. Cycle. And Skaab does get back songs here, which is kind of nice. Speaking of songs, 9 cards left in deck. Okay, 7 cards left in deck. This should be pretty easy. I'm gonna turn off auto yields, just so I don't accidentally deck myself. Alright, cycle these. And there's the Celebrant. Okay, play Blood Celebrant. Let's add a red mana. Flashback this Flaring Pain. Songs of the Damned. Now let's make a blue. Play the Skaab. Yes, I would love to exploit. Return songs. Play songs. Reaping the Graves. Let's get back Skaab. And we should have, you know, enough to get almost everything back. Okay, returned all of our Stingers. That's the big thing here. What was our first one on? Yeah, okay. Just clicking through. 31 mana. Okay. Red, white, red, red. Let's play a healer. Stinger. 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 And let's cycle once. Auto yield to those abilities, but not the draws. Okay, now we can play another healer. Cycle the Architect. Draw. And let's just... Okay, our opponent conceded. If you wanted to there, you could play Zombie and get back songs again, and then play the Stinger, and then just make sure that, like, that allows you to just deal roughly 1,000,000 damage with all of the draws on the stack. But our opponent got bored and conceded. We've beaten the same deck twice, same person twice. Let's just see if we can get maybe some different opponents and different decks in here, and continue to showcase how great Repository Skaab is. I'll see you in match number 3. We are on the play for match number 3. And this seems reasonable. We'll keep this. All the time I think when I open up hands like this, how much better it is to have fast lands than the sacrifice lands I used to play. Just night and day. Red. We were facing Burn, so we get to showcase some of our Gnaw to the Bones. I like that. Okay. Cycle Vantasaur. Hit Reaping, but we need some more creatures. Okay. Bolt. Skewer, so they're gonna knock me to 12 here. I could be dead next turn. I'm just gonna pass. So they're probably going to cast at least a spell this turn, which means I can Reaping the Graves back my 2 creatures and hope to try to win on my turn. Okay, so this knocks me down to 8. Yeah, we just didn't draw enough creatures this game, unfortunately. So if it's Bolt, Bolt, Fire Blast, I'm dead. Suspend Rift Bolt. Okay. Let's Reaping the Graves back these 2 creatures. Okay. Draw. Cycle Vantasaur. Cycle Healer. Another Vantasaur, okay. So what we're going to do, I mean it stinks, but we're going to play Cabal Ritual here. Cycle Horror. Dark Ritual. Cycle Dino. Cycle the Barrenmoor, hope to hit a creature. We hit one. Cycle the Architect. Skaab's interesting, okay. Songs. Okay, so let's do this. Exploit. Yes. Get back. I think songs, because on this Reaping the Graves, I can get back another Reaping. So then songs, Reaping the Graves. And I'm gonna be able to return like all 5 creatures I have or whatever. 6, my bad. Okay, let's start cycling. Land is now what the doctor ordered. I can sit on that Cabal Ritual a little bit before I have to commit to it. So Ploy's really good, but we'd have to hit one of our 2 remaining Lotus Petals or the Blood Celebrant. Okay. Cycle Architect. Brings me to 6. I'm gonna sit on that for a second. I guess that's my last draw. That's scary. I have to do it. And I'm dead. We need another blue source. Some of you might be like thinking back to when I played the Cabal Ritual, and if I was supposed to sacrifice the Petal of the Cabal Ritual. I think you have to. You can't afford to burn a Songs of the Damned for 2 mana. So unfortunately, we just didn't hit here. But it happens sometimes. Let's just focus on winning the next 2. All right. So we do get to board in these Gnaws. Board out Architect. And you could do a Lotus Petal or the last Architect. I think I'm going to do a Petal. Just because, like, you do want to keep your creature count somewhat high. Could also maybe, like, shave 1 Street Wraith. Do this instead. Okay. Sure. So the choke point with this hand will be hitting land number 2, followed by rituals. Other than that, this hand's fine. Okay, swamp, and let's just be lazy and main phase cycle our Architect. There's land 2. Suspends Riftbolt. Cycle the Healer. Play Barrenmoor and pass. Alright, so we're being hit by Riftbolt here, going to 17 life. Needle Drop, and they missed their land. Another Reaping the Graves. Not the best draw for us. Gna's decent. Let's cycle the Street, see if we can hit. We did not. I think I'm fine just passing here. Alright, they found land number 2. Alchemist, sure. Draw. Dark Ritual. Okay, so this gives us a little bit of flexibility here. I'm going to sacrifice one of these petals for blue and the other for green, which gives me Threshold, so I can play Cabal Ritual. Now I'm going to... I have Storm 4, so let's just return the creatures. It kind of doesn't matter. We're going to return these, and then I can ploy and maybe not to the bone this turn. Cycle Street Wraith, going to 12 life. 6 cards in graveyard. That is 7, so now I can Cabal Ritual again. Cycle Healer. Cycle Healer. Okay, let's cycle the Baron more. So I have 6 mana right now. I'm going to cast the Ploy. I guess if I discard an Architect, I would gain 2 more life off this Gnaw to the Bone. Or actually, I should jumpstart the Ploy here. That's just better. Alright, 26. And I can always use the Gnaw to the Bone later. Okay. Another Alchemist, sure. And Skewer the Critics. Okay. When it still has 4 cards in hand. Let's cycle the Stinger. And the Dino. Okay. I think I'm into going for it this turn. Cast Songs, and I'm going to cast Gnaw to the Bone right now, literally for Storm Count. Let's Gnaw. 37 life. Turn Stinger. And Street Wraith, Architect, and a couple of healers. Alright, 35. Teachings is interesting here. I don't think I'm supposed to cast it quite yet. Well, I want more info on what I'm going to draw into first. If we need to get like a Songs or a Reaping the Graves, that kind of stuff is just like good to know. And the Celebrant means we could flash back the... Well, I guess the Forest means we can flash back the Gnaw this turn. And now Stinger. Cycle. I guess we can't flash back then. Well, I guess I could if I play Celebrant. So if I play Dark Ritual, this brings me up to 6, 7 mana. So I could Reaping the Graves, a new hand. It's not like they're going to do me 35 on their turn. So I think that's probably the best line. So we'd have 1 Reaping the Graves left in our deck after this. That said, we would also have the zombie. Okay. Move to cleanup. Discard the Ash Barons, Architect. Actually, let's discard the Street Wraith too. Okay. So I'm F6. Our opponent can double Alchemist. They're not going to deal 33, so it's fine. Okay. 3 cards left in hand. Lava Spike. It does make every burn spell worth 5, which is kind of nice for them. Marauders. Sure, now they have 1 card left, which is like probably something like Fire Blast. Okay, let's cycle this Horror. Street Wraith. This gets back Songs, but we can't cast Songs right now. Cycle Horror. There's the Songs. Let's cast that. Cycle. Cycle. And again. Cycle the... Actually, let's just play the Skaab. Exploit. Let's return Songs. Cycle Healer. Cycle Stinger. Songs of the Damned. Play the Blood Celebrant. Cycle this. Cycle the Baron more. And we've run out of cyclers, which it happens. Not the end of the world. We could flashback Teachings and go get Reaping the Graves, which I don't think we really need to do. But instead we can just gain a whole boatload of life. Nah. Nah again. Add a green. Let's nah. And pass the turn. Okay. 107 life. Shockingly, I will not block here. They're gonna alchemist us. Skewer, are they killing my blood celebrant? They are. We don't really need the celebrant, so that's fine right now. Draw. I think that I'm just gonna pass. I guess maybe if it's like a pyroblast, I'd want to. Maybe I'll do it in their upkeep. Flashback the teachings so I can get the last reaping the graves. Okay, so now I can have 6. Okay, they have 2 cards in hand. Another Marauders, that's fine. Draw. Don't want to cast that Tolarian Winds. Let's cycle the Stinger. Cycle. I guess I could try to go for it here. Dark Ritual. Songs. Let's Reaping the Graves Skaab. Blood Celebrant. Stinger? With that on the stack, it's not worth the mana to just draw 1 card. I was trying to think that it would like raise Storm count for the future, but I don't know if that's even worth it. Screw it. Let's do it. I drew another Ash Barrens. That's funny. Okay. So now we play Blood Celebrant. Add blue mana. Skaab. Yes, I would like to exploit the Skaab. Let's return Reaping the Graves. I'm gonna cast the Stinger, actually. I just want the Storm off it. Reaping the Graves, get back Skaab. Now Stinger, Stinger, Stinger. Street Wraith, Street Wraith. Horror, Horror? And they're killing our... What are they targeting? Sure. Okay, so they killed that. That doesn't really matter. Sure. I am a little bit worried about clock, but that's about it. So now we'll add a blue. Play the Skaab again. And this is probably a better match for showing off what it can do. And now we get back the songs. Cast it. Stinger. 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 Cycle Horror. 9 cards left. Draw. Cycle Horror. Cycle Horror. Cycle Street Wraith. We need 1 more cycler for this to be lethal. And there it is. Okay. Because you can cycle the Ash Barrens for damage as well. Okay. Woot woot. Got game number 2. Still 1 more to go, though. On the draw, I think we want the Speed of Lotus Petal. Yeah, I'm going to try this out. It's just our fastest build. Sure. Keep. Opponents on the play. This hand's a little bit risky with double Street Wraith. Okay. We're just going to go search up a swamp here. Ouch. Lightning bolt me. Oh, okay, I was going to say Alchemist, but it's Marauders. That's fine. Draw. Yeah, let's just cycle these. More lands. This is not looking good. Okay. So we're taking 3, going to 13. When this dies on their next turn, we'll go to 12. Ideally, for our turn, we would draw, what is it called? The Gnaw to the Bone. Another Marauders. Okay. That's a lot of damage. Celebrant. Alright. I think I'm priced into cycling Street Wraith here. Stinger. Cycle Street Wraith. Cast Dark Ritual. Cycle Horror. We have 7, so let's cast the Cabal Rat. Cycle Horror. Cycle Stinger. Cycle Horror. Come on, Gnaw to the Bone. Yes! Hell yeah! Alright, so now we can cycle this Baron more. I can just play land into Gnaw. I don't need a Dark Rat. Gnaw them bones! 23. Okay, that was good. Okay, Archer. Suspend Rift Bolt. Sure. Draw. Skaab's good. Let's go get a blue source, though. And play the Blood Celebrant as a blocker. So that way we can maybe keep the Firebrand Archer on defense, unless they want to spend a burn spell on it. Okay, what's the Rift Bolt going to do? It's going to go after the Celebrant. Celebrant just saved 3 damage. Look at that. Okay. So on our turn, like, it's pretty obvious that I want to draw like a Reaping the Graves, but if I drew an untapped land, I can also go Dark Ritual, Skaab, and then pick up Gnaw, and then cast Gnaw from hand. Okay, let's cycle that. Why not? Wins. Not sure what I want to do here. Like, how highly do I value the life gain? How many are here? 10, so I gain 20 life. I think I'm supposed to just flash it back and not burn the Skaab on it. Okay. Start casting Rift Bolt. Sure. Okay, we're at 22. They're doing a lot of damage per turn. Draw. Cycle the Vantasaur. Okay. Let's cast this ploy. I think it's the land. Right now, I'm not in love with Tolarian Winds at the moment, but it could end up being very good. Alright, so we're taking 6 here, going to 18, and they have 2 cards. So even if it was Fire Blast, that's not enough to kill me. We're down to 32 cards in deck, and we haven't found a Reaping the Graves yet, by the way. So, a little bit unlucky at the moment, but we'll be fine. And I think we should just jumpstart the boy. This is going to gain 3 life. Discard Petal. And pass. If they kill me from 21, I'm going to be a little bit sad, but I'd understand. Okay, so we're going to 15. So if their hand was like Bolt, Fire Blast, Fire Blast, that actually doesn't do it. It would be Bolt, Bolt, Fire Blast could do it. Yeah, we could be dead here. Oh no. They got me. That's going to do it. Wow, props to the opponent. We gained a ton of life that game too. We just never found our action spell. We got to 28 cards in deck and never found a Reaping the Graves. Would we have found it next turn? No, we would not have found Reaping the Graves. That is crazy. Okay, not the end of the world. We're now 2-1. Still 2 more matches to play after this one. Match number 4 on the play. No lands, no keeps. Alright, we can work with this one. I think you're actually supposed to bottom the Skaab here because this is like a middle of the combo card, and right now it's not doing anything to help us, so we're going to bottom that, and then we'll shuffle it back in though with this Ash Barrens. So let's just do that right away. We're just going to go, whoops, cancel that. Okay, cycle this Ash Barrens, go get the island. Pass the turn. Forest. Bogles. Okay. I do like my Bogles matchup. Cycle Healer. That said, I like my burn matchup too now with Gnaw to the Bone, but we didn't win the last one. So sometimes when you like a matchup, it just doesn't matter. Okay. Pilgrim. So now they can go search up Ancestral Mask, most likely. Or maybe, what is it called? They got Cloak. That's interesting. I can't think of the name of it now. The armor, it's the one white one. I don't know. They'll play it at some point. Let's cycle Street Wraith. Cycle the Horror. Songs is a good pickup. I'm gonna go get the other Swamp out of the deck. Try to increase our consistency a little bit. Get rid of this Baron more. Okay, we have a lot of mana. But as of right now, we need to find that Reaping the Graves again. You might have been thinking about that last game that we lost where I had Skaab in my hand and I really needed a Reaping the Graves. So you could argue that, like, well, if that was Mystical Teachings, you would have won that. But there was also games earlier on this league where I would have lost if Skaab was Mystical Teachings. So you have to take the good with the bad. You can't only look at the bad and then blame it on that. I don't blame that last loss on the Skaab at all. I blame it on not drawing a Teachings in the top 2/3 of our deck. Or not Teachings, Reaping the Graves. But also, we never saw the Teaching. So all 5 cards there that would have won that game on the spot were just in the bottom 20. And sometimes that happens. It's a part of playing a combo deck in a format that doesn't have tutors. Alright, so let's just cast Ploy here, I think. Okay, that's pretty good. So I'll go to 16. I could try to jam right now. I think I'm just gonna pass. Like, I guess if they played armor into Ancestral Mask, I lose, but like, I don't think that's gonna happen. 4 mana. What do they keep? Thran doesn't do anything. Yeah, sure. You can have all the life you want. I'll deal you 80. Okay, let's jam. Dark Ritual, Dark Ritual, Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual. Cycle this Architect. Cycle Baron more. We need more creatures in our graveyard. Cycle Healer. Alright, let's jumpstart the Ploy. Discard the Petal. Discard the Ash Baron. Cycle the Street Wraith. Cycle Street Wraith. Play this for Storm. Now we can play Songs into Reaping the Graves. Okay, and let's return these Street Wraiths here. I'm not in win the game mode yet. I am still in the let's just continue comboing mode. And Street Wraith is really what you want for that. Just because it allows you to dig so deep. I don't need to spend mana on that. Let's cycle Street Wraith. Okay. Boom! Love it. Okay. We're officially halfway through our deck at this point. Another Petal. Cycle Horror. Cycle Architect. Didn't need the Ash Barons, but that's fine. Cycle Architect. Alright, keep going. We might use wins for once here. Wins this league. I've been a little bit low on the card recently, and there's been a few times this league where it's been awkward, but there's also times where it's just the nuts. Cycle Street Wraith. Cast Cabal Ritual. Petal. Songs. And let's put wins on the stack. So like this is an example of like what you want this card to do 100% of the time, which is just like draw the rest of your deck for the most part. But like that last game that I lost against Burn, the wins was just like super awkward. I've considered making it a second ploy in the main deck, or maybe the second teachings. It's just like 2 teachings is pretty clunky sometimes. Okay, so now we have 7 cards in graveyard. We can play the Celebrant. Ball Ritual. Red, play Stinger. Stinger. Go to 1 and play the Healer. Cycle Horror. 28 is going to be easy. Okay. Love it. Play the other Stinger. Back at 1 life. Cycle Architect. Cycle Horror. Cycle Dino. Ping, ping, ping. Alright, we had 3 cards left in deck. That's not really a concern because we never need to draw another card. At this point, we're just drawing the deck because we can. Alright, 2 cards left. Let's cycle the Healer. Draw. Petal. Let's cast this Cabalret. Songs. Reaping the Graves. Let's get back all of our creatures and just end it. Okay. Bring everyone home. Woot woot. Okay, so now let's play the Stinger. Cycle Horror. Okay. Woot. Alright, we got game number 1 over Bogles. Bring in the Darkness and board out. Probably Architect of Will. Maybe wins, just to keep your creature count up a little bit. Yeah, let's try this. Pretty reasonable hand. Keep. They have the turn 1 hexproof creature. Play the Baronmoor and pass. We're probably playing this Ash Barrens untapped just for speed reasons, but we also have these Lotus Petals to fix colors for us. Cartouche, okay. Now we take 2. 3 cards left in our opponent's hand. Skaab. Cycle the Healer. Let's cycle the Horror. No need to cycle Street Wraith yet. It's kind of just like overextending. We don't need to lower our life total for them. Especially yet, like we made our land drop. Next turn I could maybe see it, but right now you just don't need to. What color do they have with this Sprawl? White, okay. Interesting that they didn't play anything there. Let's start off on Cycling Stinger. We're at 15. Go get a land out of our deck here. I'm gonna get a black land just so I can cycle the Horror. I don't love playing out the Petal here, but just in case our opponent tries to like one-shot us with Surprise, we can cast Darkness. I'm wondering what their hand must be, where they have 3 cards and they're just not casting anything. Is it that fight card? Ram through? Sprawl? Sure. It must be like ram throughs or something, or more lands. Alright, let's cycle these. Cycle Street Wraith, cycle Street Wraith. Let's go get the island out of the deck. Play it and cycle the Baronmoor. Cycle the Architect. We're now a third of the way through our deck. And I'm just gonna upkeep Darkness them. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I did not mean to Dark Ritual there. Oh, that was so bad. That was just a misclick. Okay. Sure. Well, that was awkward. Draw. Just gonna pass. Upkeep Darkness. I might cast Teachings here. Ethereal Armor. Okay, there it is. There's the name of the card I can't remember. One has 1 card in hand. Let's cast this Teachings. Get Reaping. And now let's try to party. Songs. Play Skaab. Sacrifice Skaab. Get back the songs. Your last card Dispel? Nope. Okay. It would have been weird if it was, because they probably could have countered it and then countered the darkness and killed us. Return Skaab here. So then we get to return 5 other creatures. Architects, Healer, or Street Wraith, or I don't want to return too many Street Wraiths when we're at 8 life. I just feel like it's not a great idea. Cycle these. Ooh, another songs. Okay. I'm gonna play out a healer here. Now that I know what the game plan is, I don't mind losing a little bit of life, just because we have Skaab to get back Reaping the Graves, we have the Songs of the Damned, we're gonna be fine. And with healer gaining life, I can freely bring back more copies of Street Wraith. Okay. Just keep cycling. Boom. All right, let's add a blue. Play the Skaab, and now that we drew into Reaping the Graves, we can just return another Songs. Like, this card just makes winning so easy. All right, add a blue mana. Play Ploy. Sure. Add a red mana. Stinger. And let's reap those graves. Woot woot. I played so much of this deck this week. It's really good. Like, if you're not convinced that Skaab is good, I'd recommend playing it and just seeing the difference. Like, you just don't have to worry about running out of songs ever again. And, like, that's just such a weight off your shoulders when you're playing this deck. Okay, auto yield to these. Would love to cast a Cabal Ritual. Cycle Street Wraith. And another. And another. Cycle Horror again. I feel like we've made a lot of really good upgrades to this deck over the last 6 months. From the mana base to Blood Celebrant, Skaab, Ploy. Like, we've just made a lot of meaningful changes to this archetype. And it's not all me. There's people in the Discord that help out a ton too. So there's a lot of great minds. Like, the Skaab idea was not mine. It was Blurred Boundaries. So there's a lot of people in there that just, like, come up with cards. This card was not initially on my radar. So we have a great community. If you want to be a part of it, definitely go check out the Storm Discord. You can find that link in the description of this video. Okay. Opponent was being a good sport, said good games. They love watching this deck go off. It's very nice of them. I love playing it, so that works out for me. And that was match number 4. Let's get round number 5 and call it another 4-1 league for this deck. Round number 5 coming right up. The final round of this league, and we are facing Ixidor 29. Will they be a blue deck with a name like that? Let's find out. Ixidor was a blue legend in Onslaught block, and they've betrayed their tribe, and they're playing elves. I do like my elves matchup, but we're on the draw. And here we have a pretty good hand, in my opinion. We get the velocity of all these untapped lands, which is kind of nice. But I think in my upkeep, I'm going to cycle Ash Barrens for the island. Just in case we... Oh, they're mono green. They're not elves. Okay. Ranger, yep. This might look like elves. It's just mono green aggro. 2 cards left in their opening hand. Cycle the Ash Barrens. Go get the island so we can have a little bit of fixing. And draw. Perfect draw. Boom! Alright, we're going to try to go for it on turn 3, most likely. Right now they have 6 damage coming in. That's 8 damage. 1 card left in hand. Yeah, alright, so we're going to 6. Once both of the cycles resolve, that is. Alright, we're not playing that Baron more. And then cycle Healer. We do need a little bit more Storm count for what it's worth. Cycle Stinger. Like a Cabal Ritual or something would be kind of nice here. A lot of Chilleri wins. I'll take that. This is a good spot for Chilleri wins after I trash talked it. And another song's perfect. Yeah, I'll do that. And then I'm gonna cycle this Baron more. See if I can just get a little bit deeper. That was a bad one. Okay. Petal. Play wins. It's from 5, and now we're reaping the graves. I'm probably going to cycle a little bit more before that resolves, so that's 6. Maybe I shouldn't, because I don't want to spend too much life on street rates if I have to maybe use, like, what is it called? Blood Celebrant later. But I do think I want to maybe cycle a little bit here. Just not use the street rates, that is, at all. That's fine. Like, you don't mind drawing stuff like this because they're cards that stop you from winning the game later. Ploy. We might cast Ploy. I don't know yet. Ballrit. Let's cycle the Architect. Let's cycle this. Dark Ritual. Cycle Healer. Okay, and then let's play Ploy. Just gain a bunch of life. So we're gonna draw 5 off this right now. Let's cycle. A little bit worried about, like, if I don't hit a songs and I go down to 1 mana. Because keeping 2 mana open leaves Cabal Ritual being a good draw. I think I'm gonna let it resolve. Alright, so we have some life to work with. Because I can also flashback that Ploy. Or jumpstart that Ploy. Let's cycle. Okay, let's see if we can find a songs, though. Cycle Stinger. Not songs. Alright. So let's make a blue. I think we should just take the guaranteed bunch of life off of Ploy. Discard the Celebrant. Okay, we fizzled. But we do have 46 life to work with now. So that bought us some time to draw into what we need to win the game. Okay. They're getting in for 8. Like I mentioned before, their life total doesn't really matter. Like, I can deal 80 damage, so the lifelink is meaningless. Draw, cycle Horror. And I kept this one up on purpose. I could have kept the Baron more, but if I hit multiple black cyclers or multiple runners this turn, I wanted to be able to cycle them all. Okay, let's cycle that. Okay. Down to 17 cards. No zombie yet either. So no zombie. We've used 2 songs. Elephant Guide. I used to love that card as a kid. Super sweet. Judgment Enchantment. I don't know when it was downshifted, if I'm being honest. It was probably downshifted in, like, Eternal Masters, if I had to guess. But that card's so sweet. Okay. There's 14 cards. I think we should just peanut butter and jam here. Come on, opponent. What are you going to do? You're mono green. Let's go. Alright, thank you for F6ing. I appreciate it. It just doesn't really matter. We're returning any 4 cyclers here. We have roughly 1 million mana floating, so we'd really like to not fizzle. With only 14 cards left in our deck and tons of hits. Okay, Skaab was an amazing hit there. Okay. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Cycle. Ballrit. Dark Ritual. Let's play Skaab. Yes, I would like to exploit it. Returned a songs. Play it. Now we can return the Skaab. Now this is from 9. We also want to return Blood Celebrant. Stinger, 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 Stinger. Horror. Wraith, Wraith. That's fine. And then I started blasting. Blood Celebrant. Let's add some red mana. Boy, it was such a good pickup for this deck. Like, all of this, like, weird synergy between, like, Blood Celebrant being amazing with Stinger. Like, the deck just, like, got a lot of, like, really interesting synergy because, like, Ploy makes this whole Blood Celebrant thing possible, in my opinion, because, like, you're just allowed to, like, bleed life and not have it matter. Okay. Cycle this again. Cycle. Cycle. Don't mind another Songs of the Damned. Alright. So now what we're going to do is play Skaab and get back a Reaping the Graves. And once again, the zombies just like taking over this game. Just making it so easy to win with a low storm count. And now we get to return everyone. That's another thing. Like, it allows you to fizzle and then just make a very high storm count very easily. Like, we're at 17 and we started this turn on 3 cards. It's just like Eternal Witness, but like souped up in this deck. Okay, let's cycle. 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 Okay, we just need to get one more win for the 4-1. Board out Darkness again. I think we just board out the Architects. Like this. Leaves 22 creatures in the deck, with 2 of them being Blood Celebrant and Repository Skaab. Okay, hopefully our last game of this league. Unfortunately, we cannot keep this one. We're gonna have to ship that. That too. Going to 5, that's kind of brutal. Get rid of the Barrenmore and the Cabal Ritual. Be nice if I could pull off a Mold of 5 win, but don't have my hopes up. Alright, turn 1 Nettle Sentinel. Cycle Stinger. Hit the blue source. So we're going to fall to 18 life. Nest Invader. This is one of their better openings because next turn it allows them to like that was a good draw. Super pump their stuff with like that I forget what it's called, but it puts 3 counters on one of their creatures if something died, and then they can also play Elephant Guide. So everything just like works out. And we're doing okay for a mulligan to 5 right now. Alright, Burning Tree. There's the Elephant Guide. Alright, no 1 green instant that I was talking about, but we are taking 7, going to 11 life. They have 9 damage right here. That was good. Alright, so we're going to cycle this Ash Barrens to go get a Swamp. That bought us some time, and I appreciate that. Cycle. Okay, let's see if we can get them to overextend a little bit. And then Darkness, instead of like doing it in their upkeep. Like this Vines, it's perfect. That's what I'm talking about with overextending. Darkness, my old friend. Okay. Another Sentinel? Sure. Okay, so we have 6 cards in graveyard. Cycle Street Wraith. It gives us Threshold. And then we can Cabal Ritual, cycle a few things in a ploy. Right now they have 5, 11 damage. Alright, cycle the Dino. Cycle Healer. Cycle this Ash Barrens to go get a Swamp. We want to untap Black Source in case I draw into Darkness. So I could cycle the Ash Barrens. I don't think I'm supposed to. We did not hit it. Okay. So I sort of just have to hope that they don't have 3 extra damage in their hand as their last card. Alright, so like I said, this is 11. This would put us to 3 life. And they have the Vines. Okay, not a big deal. Alright, unfortunately, we're going to game number 3. I did mulligan to 5 this game, and I made it pretty interesting. These would have been our draws next turns off the ploy, so I don't think this would have been good enough anyway. Well, I guess I would have cycled that on the end, so I'd see one more card. Yeah, even if I got to untap, I don't think we were going to live. Just, it is what it is. Let's just focus on getting this game 3. Okay. Good hand. We're just going to play Swamp and then go get the island with Ash Barrens on turn 1. Okay. Swamp, go get our island. Pass the turn. Bolt Scourge, okay. Draw. Darkness, let's cycle Street Wraiths. Just want to find more cyclers this turn. Cycle Street Wraith. Did not hit cyclers, that's unfortunate. I wonder if I'm supposed to play Ploy here. I think so. Jeez, okay. Sure, you can have a Rancor. Ooh, big Volt Scourge. Draw. Other Ash Barrens. So let's jumpstart the Ploy here, discard the Barrens. We're just looking for creatures to cycle and then reaping the graves. I don't think I'm allowed to keep this Tolarian Winds, unfortunately. Okay, going to 11. You gonna pump here? I know. Ledgewalker, sure. Draw. I do like the creatures. Okay, Cycle Stinger. We need to find a Reaping the Graves. Yikes. Okay. So this is 6 damage, putting us to 5. Alright, so that's 7. Is this Vines? Yes, Darkness. F6 and pass. Draw. Come on, Doc. Third of the way through, didn't find a payoff. Alright, so this is 7. Once again, we're dead to Vines, but they don't have it. And now we get one more draw step at Glory. Nest Invader, sure. Come on, deck, please. Okay, so unfortunately, this became a 3-2 league. I feel like both games we lost, we didn't find our Reaping the Graves. And I'm a little disappointed in a 3-2 considering how I 4-1'd every league up until the one I decided to record. I have not been in love with Tolarian Winds. This card just, like, it hasn't felt good to me recently. And I feel like it might have been a shift in philosophy or a shift in how the deck plays. I'm not sure why, but I'd be open to cutting this Tolarian Winds for a second Mystical Teachings after this league. Or you could also do a second Ploy, I suppose, because then with second Ploy, you could dump Skaab or the Blood Celebrant into the graveyard for Songs and Reaping the Graves. But I'm also interested in just, like, always finding my Reaping the Graves, because this card just hasn't felt good to me recently. That's redundant to what I just said, but it's still the truth. I'm a big believer in Repository Skaab. When you look at how these games played out, it was, we didn't find Reaping the Graves in game 3. They were on the play game 1 and 1. We stomped them game 2. And then here, we mulliganed to 5 game 2. In game 3, we couldn't find Reaping the Graves. So, a little bit of bad luck. Not to blame everything on luck. Like, that's not a constructive thing to do, but I think sometimes you just have to understand that you have some bad variance. So you should look at ways of fixing that bad variance if you can. And here, I think adding the second teachings back in over the Tolarian Winds might help that. I'm open to your suggestions as well. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I make play mistakes. Sometimes I don't see things. Feel free to let me know. That said, in the board, I've been thinking about going down to 2 Darkness. Just because, like, I don't know if you really need it, and you could keep an extra cycler in the deck for density, and if you really want to in those matchups, you could board in Gnaw to the Bone. I'm not sure, but there's also nothing I want to add, which is part of the problem. Like, I sat and looked at my binders, and I couldn't find a single card I wanted to play over the last Darkness. If you have an idea for that, let me know. I'd love to hear that stuff. So thank you for watching, especially if you've made it all this way. Keep storming. You're great. Have a great day. and, all that good stuff. See ya. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.